Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. Today I'm covering all the items you need to find for the hideout, which is now needed to be found in raid, so then you can punch through the hideout, get access to all the good stuff that you want, craft those items that you need, and then enjoy the wonderful experience of Escape from Tarkov. So without further ado, let's crack straight into it. Alright, so yes, in patch 0.16, you are required to find nearly all the items for the hideout in raid, which means you have to go into a raid, survive the raid with that item, and also have enough XP, or at least be in there 7 minutes, so then that way it stays with the found in raid status. There are a few exceptions, and I can explain that, but if you need to know, I've already, in 1 week, we're just about to hit the 1 week mark since the wipe, I have pretty much had all hideout items or places upgraded fully, besides the last couple, so I'll show you that now. Alright, so I've pretty much got everything that's major upgraded, and I'm pretty much down to the Bitcoin farm and a couple other spots left, and then I have the whole hideout upgraded. There's a few like big ticket items, I guess you could call it, which are like the air filtering unit and solar panels, but I'm actually not going to do those because I plan to prestige this wipe. So realistically, there's no real need to upgrade them unless you're going to play the entire wipe, but I will explain to you where you can find those items. For the format of this video, I'm going to show you the major loot spawns and sections for each map and what to take note of. Then I'll go through each individual item. If you want to skip forward to actually find out or find the specific items you're after, they'll be located in the description. I'll have like timestamps for that specific point, but you will learn a lot over this whole video either way. Now, for My Hideout, you can actually get access to it. All you need to do is go to the friends list and add True Believer 24. True Believer 24, and then you will get access to My Hideout. I'll accept it, and I have 12,356 friends, and I pretty much accept it every few hours that I'm awake, and then obviously when I'm asleep, I do it as soon as I wake up, which means from that point, all you have to do is go view my profile, as in go to view the True Believer 24 profile, and you get access to My Hideout. You can use my shooting range and also go to the gym. So even if you're at level 1, you can start leveling up your strength and endurance. Now, over to the items. There are a lot of items to find, and I will have a link to this page right here. It's on the EFT wiki. If you literally just go to Google, search EFT space wiki space hideout. That's whenever I'm like, oh shit, where's that image again? That's what I search. I click the first link, and there's an image right there for it. And that brings up this one. So I'll have a link down below for you, but this is all the items we're going to go through over this actual video. It's probably going to be a slightly lengthy video, so let's not waste any more time. Now, for the purpose of this video, I will be using mapgenie.io. I paid for this. It is like a one-off $20 payment or $10 payment, and then you get access forever to all the actual map genies. I've actually spoken to the developers, and they're actually pretty cool people. They are happy for me to use their stuff in the videos, and actually sent me the raw files, which was really cool of them to do that. But starting off with factory. Now, if you are going to go factory, primarily, I would highly recommend just doing it as a scav run if you're doing it for loot. A little bit later on the wipe, the scav timers for factory very quick, and so you can jump into a factory and get out nice and quick. The main items that you would be really trying to farm in factory itself are the medical items located by the med tents, as well as there is a technical supply crate right by that ramp. Now, underneath that little section there is another technical supply crate. So you actually have 2 technical supply crates you can search those med spawns, and then pretty much run out. One of the other things I do, and I will talk about a lot in this video, is duffel bags. Duffel bags are like hidden, like lottery gems. Sometimes you get nothing, and other times they're really good just in general. The last 2 spots, I don't recommend going out of your way to farm these. However, if you are going past the bottom floor of the actual factory, there is a safe at the bottom floor of the office area that you can grab on the way out. I generally try and keep my scav raids in factory less than 2 minutes. So spawn in, grab all the stuff on the way to the extract, and get out. It's meant to be a quick run. You're not meant to spend too much time in there. If you see some bodies on the ground, grab some loot, get out. That's the whole point of a scav run on factory. If you are actually playing factory as a PvP, then obviously they're pretty much the notable points for upgrading your hideout right there. Now, over to woods. Woods used to be a really amazing map to actually loot because of the hidden stashes. Now, I'll click cache there, and you can actually see all the extra stuff pop up. Those hidden stashes are literally everywhere. I have a video on it where you can find out where they all are specifically, but they went away from being 100% spawn chance to now RNG rated. So if you want to watch the video and learn those locations, every time you go past the hidden stash, you should loot it. You can get from the best armors in the game to literally everything, so from LEDXs, whatever. So hidden stashes are great, but unfortunately now those 42 hidden stashes in woods are RNG. It's not worth specifically farming them. So if you are going to go for a quick loot run of woods to get some loot, there's pretty much 2 locations that I would recommend checking out, but I'm more showing you this if you're on woods and you're actually heading towards the extract or you want to pick up some extra loot. The first one being this base here. I call it the FOB or med base. Everyone's got different names for it, but it's pretty much filled with supply crates. Technical and medical supply crates are absolute gems when it comes to sorting stuff for your hideout, and I would recommend going to this one right here. However, it will nearly always be looted. The loot is so good there that anyone that goes to woods that spawns in this side of the map will always check it out. So actually the next best place to go is the village over on the side here, in my opinion. There's the actual, like, I think it's called Northern Checkpoint or Northern Roadblock. It's a little bit south of the actual main village, but you can check the supply crates and there's toolboxes all around there, and then heading up to the actual village. Previously, the car extract at the bridge was 100%. That is gone now. So you can't just run to the car extract to get out, unfortunately. So you actually might have to run to the other side of the map. So depending on where you spawn in is where you should do your looting and stuff. The last point I need to specifically tell you about, but unless you spawn over here, it's not really worth your time going to check. And that's the med camp over, or sorry, the USEC camp. You do have to do some quests there. There are mines here, and on top of that, it's camped very regularly for people for Shoot-A-Born in Heaven and just doing stuff on woods in general. People just want to ruin your day. A lot of early stuff goes on there. Over at this tent here, there is a heap of LEDX spawns, and it's definitely worth checking if you spawn near it. However, it's nearly always going to be checked. If you're more than like 5 minutes after the raid, you probably missed out. But if you are going past it and you've cleared it, definitely check for a LEDX. It's by the tent. Now, customs. I have a lot of mixed feelings about customs when it comes to looting, but the actual main places that you should be checking out are actually mostly the new ones. So in the patch 16, these 2 buildings right here. So this is the I guess call it custom side or storage unit side. These 2 buildings are now opened up and they are filled with loot, mostly tech supply, like all your tools and stuff like that. So instead of going straight to Stronghold, you're actually better off going through here and looting through here. And if you're hearing gunshots in Stronghold and you're after loot, it's probably already gone. There are supply crates inside Stronghold from ration, technical, and medical supply crates. And the good thing about customs is LEDXs can spawn in there too. So ideally, if you see any sort of medical bag or med supply crate, even duffel bags, LEDXs can spawn in duffel bags. You should be checking all those spawns when you see them. I'm going to talk about LEDXs a bit because it's normally a sticking point for a lot of people, and I'm trying to help it so you don't have to just go labs to farm for those LEDXs. So ideally, the new areas, so being pretty much these 3 shaded buildings, are fully lootable now, and on all those floors, you can get plenty of loot. So just explore around it. Now, previously, dorms was actually really good for filing cabinets and jackets. They actually removed a lot of the jackets and made them RNG chance to actually spawn. So I actually say avoid dorms now. I don't even think it's really worth going to unless you have a quest. Whereas previously, I would say go to dorms to loot filing cabinets and jackets. There are better places to farm filing cabinets these days. The one good thing about dorms, though, is the amount of safes that are over there. There's 2 in 3-story, and there's another 2 in 2-story. So realistically, if you want to go to dorms, I'll just show you up here. Click safes. 204 and 214 in 3-story, and in 2-story dorms, it's in 105, 110, and 114. Now, these keys are quite difficult to get unless you have access to the flea market. So until the flea market's open, you're going to have to farm the filing cabinets and jackets for the keys. But there are 5 safes just located there. There is also a safe in Big Red, and there's also another one located in the new gas station. So, well, this is called New Gas for anyone who doesn't know. So this section here is new gas. There's a safe there as well. So I recommend checking the safes if you're going past them. And if you are going to dorms for a quest and you have the keys, definitely check safes. Really good for your flash drives and stuff like that. So for customs, that's pretty much it. There are other buildings that do have loot in them. And people say, oh, I always get graphics cards out of a PC and like this building down here, which is true. You can get graphics cards out of the PC, or there's even 2 vans out the front. Right here, there's a van with 2 PCs in the back of it. It's that one, actually. You can get the PCs and give you graphics cards, but it's the same RNG chance as other maps and other locations. So don't put yourself in a risky location. If you're going past it, cool, check it. But realistically, I'm trying to show you the main dense loot spots. Next up, Interchange. There is a lot of places on Interchange that you can get loot, and I wanted to really show you that how many duffel bags are on Interchange. Duffel bags, like I said before, are your RNG chance to find random loot. So if I turn on duffel bags, you know, it doesn't look like there's that much loot there. Bam, look how many duffel bags across Interchange. If you're running past a duffel bag, you should be checking it. It just is really good chance to find something out of all the random loot in the game that's actually going to be something that you need. So duffel bags are always good to check. Now, Interchange is pretty much your ideal place to farm computers. I would say Interchange and Ground Zero are your best places to farm computers outside of labs. For Interchange, down in Ollie, all this back area has computers, and there's actually more on both sides of Ollie. Then you've also got, if you do a run around the back of this like stair location, there's another 2 computer rooms. Last but not least, there's the office area of Idea that has also other tech spawns located around it. And for all your computer spawns and tech spawns, those locations are great. There are a couple of computer blocks that do spawn down at the power station as well. The other loot run that is specific to Interchange, and I do have videos for most of these places as actual loot runs back when I used to make loot run videos, is all this back section. If I go like toolboxes, it'll really show it a lot more pertinently. If you run along the back section of Idea, all the way down the back of Goshen, and look around the back of Ollie, there is a lot of tech spawns, loose tech spawns, as well as toolboxes themselves. So if you are after barter trade items, it's really good for that. And when I go through the specific items that I get a lot of questions about, just keep in mind that this is a really good spot just to go, if you're going past them, check those toolboxes. Now over to Reserve. Now Reserve is a really painful map to try and extract from, and there's a couple of tricks that I can hopefully help you learn so you don't get caught out in D2. I personally don't like going D2 at all unless I have a quest that's down there. Once the flea market opens up and you have leveled up Jaeger a little bit, I highly recommend getting a Red Rebel and then just using the dome extract. So if I click extraction here, there's the cliff descent. You have a paracord on you and then have the Red Rebel, and you can take the cliff descent. Before you have access to that, my favorite is literally just taking the sewer extract, which is located right here in sewer manhole. As for looting on Reserve, the main reason you should go to Reserve to loot is 2 locations, ideally. First one being the underground section. It's over here. If I go toolboxes, med boxes, I'm sure if I go provisions too, these are all supply crates. So this is the bunker located underneath the train station area, not the main building. There's about 4 entrances down, and there's two in this building down here, and there's the loose one in the tower and one over to the side there. When you go underground, there's 4 keys required: the PSV 1 and 2, the PSP 1 and 2. If you have those keys, this place is a gold mine for looting. And if you're after tech items, this is great. There's a few items that only spawn on specific maps. For example, Virtex is only spawn on maps like Reserve and Lighthouse, but another good one is corrugated military tubes or hoses, something like that. They spawn on Reserve and Lighthouse. These technical supply crates here are really good for it. So if you go to the technical supply crates down here, good chance to find them. And also if you find something like a tank battery, which can get you can craft 5 normal car batteries out of it. The trick to getting it out is you actually just run it up to the top of this section here where the extract is, the hermetic door. You drop your bag at hermetic door, and then you do the crazy run. You flick the switch, and then you run back, pick up your bag, and leave. I know it's a bit risky, but if you get a tank battery, it's worth taking the risk to get 5 found in raid car batteries. So instead of trying to take it out sewer manhole or go through D2, that's probably the best way of doing it. But as for actual Reserve, the other main reason you go to Reserve is filing cabinets. When it comes to filing cabinets, they're both the night buildings. There's this building right here, and also up at Dome. I'd only be guessing, but the whole map has 67 of them. There are a fair few down in the underground bunker as well, if I get rid of the jackets. But realistically, I stay over at the night buildings, and then the filing cabinets up in the Dome and at the side here, and then take the sewer manhole. The reason why I'm talking about filing cabinets is it actually has a very large amount of items that you need. You'll find keys that you need for the quest, stuff like flash drives. You can even get lab access cards, all your G phones, screws, bolts, nuts, all that kind of stuff. You're taking the biggest rig you can get, and then you just take the sewer manhole. You can do the whole run in 10 minutes. You can fill up your rig with the actual items that you need for the hideout, and then go in the manhole and just reset the rate. You can do it at nighttime. If you're on the insomnia quest, you can actually get your nighttime kills at the same time. And if you're just just at a lower level, you can just do it at either a day or nighttime, and just get in, get out, and try to avoid that PvP. Now over to Shoreline. Shoreline's one of the really good maps to find LEDXs when you have the keys to Shoreline. So once the flea market opens up and you can buy the keys, it'll make it a lot easier. But the main thing is the resort. The resort can have a lot of LEDX spawns. There's actually specific spawns in the resort for LEDXs. All the medical bags and boxes, as well as duffel bags, can spawn LEDXs. So I'd highly recommend learning the map, the actual resort itself. I could spend an hour just showing you all the actual spawns, but realistically, the basement has a heap of duffel bags in like a very condensed place. So you can actually just search a heap of duffel bags. You will find other items that you need in those locations with those duffel bags. But then also going through each of the floors, checking all the rooms, you will find duffel bags and medical boxes and bags that you can actually get LEDXs out of and other items that you'll need. The admin building as well at the back has a heap of filing cabinets you can check. It's just a really dense location of spawn for loot. Really good. However, particularly once people start getting through the wipe a little bit more, there's a lot of risk of PvP there. So it's better when it's the squad. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the most recent sound. I'm not going to talk about that in detail right now, but I find PvP really hard now on multiple floors just because of how the reverberations work and all that. Resort combat is a lot harder than it used to be. It used to be very simple and it was a lot of fun. Personally, I try to avoid resort if there's a lot of players there, or I go later and then just get the slops, and I'll be like farming the village or the cottages or something like that instead. Speaking of other places on the map, a really important thing to show you guys is how many safes there are. In the cottage area, there is 2 safes in the unlocked one, and then once you get the cottage key and the cottage safe key, you can actually get 2 more. There is a safe located inside the gas station that's on fire. It is very easy to loot. All you need to do is learn a simple trick. And then after you know the safe in there, you can also go down to the pier and get 2 more safes. From there, you can just extract out the pier if you're just doing a loot run that's involving more of those locations. There is a safe at the dome. It's nearly always looted because I don't know why people are so obsessed to go into that location. There's a couple of filing cabinets in a safe, but it's always filled with PvP and risk. And I don't see why people want to rush up there at the start. Over at the resort, there's 3 safes. They have all required keys. One is like the health resort management key, it'll probably say health resort management office safe key, health resort warehouse safe key, then the safe 321 key. So there are 3 more safes in the actual resort that are good to loot, but you do need the keys for them. Now the other hidden gem, well, it's not really a hidden gem, but the massive loot area that is underrated when it comes to loot is this actual new area. There is the car extract up there. It used to be 100%, and I would literally just spawn in the raid, go loot this area, and take the car out, and it was amazing. I used to, last wipe for the hardcore series, I made an absolute killing looting all this stuff here, getting all my hideout upgraded really fast. There's a lot of spawns that can drop, motors, for example, are really hard to get for a lot of people. Motors will be spawning there just on the ground, and technical supply crates. Every single one of these buildings, you pretty much can just run through all this building, then up through this building. There's like another supply crate over here. Check the back here for another supply crate over here, and you can check all the ground for loot over here. So it is just a gold mine for loot. And then even along this fence, there's even more loot loose. Come up here. If I go toolboxes, then there's more like toolboxes and stuff over here. Then there's a plastic suitcase as well, and then you take the car extract. If the car's not up, technically speaking, you could just run along the top of the map and then extract on the other side at path to Lighthouse, or if you have the Red Rebel, take the Climbers Trail. Alternatively, you can go down to Road to Customs if you are spawning on the other side and head over there later. So, Shoreline, really good for loot. My biggest concern and issue with Shoreline is the PvP that happens in Resort, and also the time it takes you to traverse the map. You could spend all your time looting all this stuff and then die, and you spent probably, of the time in raid, probably about 5 to 10 minutes of just moving across the map. Whereas if you spawn in a map like Reserve, you are literally starting to loot within 30 seconds of spawning. No matter where you spawn on Reserve, you can get to a filing cabinet, a jacket, a toolbox, whatever you're after, within about 30 seconds. So Shoreline could take you 5 minutes just to even start looting. So consider that when you're actually after specific items. Next up, we have Lighthouse. Now, the only reason you should go Lighthouse is for questing and vertexes and aces. Every other reason you should go Lighthouse is a joke. That's it. I hate this map with a passion. I'm not going to talk about it any more than that, but you do need to learn these Virtex spawns and also the aces. They all spawn in the same location, so it's good to know. Firstly, you want to know about both chalets. I will show you more specifically those locations a little later on, but the chalets have probably the highest density of Virtex spawns for both upper and lower chalet. There's the Merin car that you require the Merin car trunk key, the Hillside house key. There are spawns also in these other buildings that are worth checking. It is worth checking. I just feel like the spawn rates are really low for those ones, whereas you'll find in the chalets very often your vertexes. If you do use Map Genie, don't treat all these spawns as like biblical or like gospel. I don't know how any other way of referencing it. Because, for example, this spawn right here, where it says chance to spawn Bitcoin inside the blue trunk car south of the side tunnel. That doesn't exist. I actually posted a short as a meme, like a YouTube video as a meme, just to help someone else with a funny video they were making. It never actually came to fruition, but somehow someone marked it on this map. So I don't know who adds all these spawns, but just be careful that not everything here is gospel, but it is a good guide. So if you are using Map Genie or any of the other guides, things change a lot in Tarkov as well. So BSG changes spawn rates. For example, this building right here, in the top floor is this spawn here. It is still spawning vertexes and stuff. I would say it's probably 1 in 30 raids it spawns stuff. Whereas at the start, it was nearly every raid you'd find a Bitcoin, an ASAR. Like they've changed the rates on specific locations. So just keep that in mind. Now there is the water treatment and also the lighthouse. By the time you get to the lighthouse, you won't need to worry about spawn locations for hideout and the water treatment plant. If you are going through that, cool, check all the locations as you're going through, use this or use whatever guides out there. But realistically, I'm trying to help you get the crucial items you need for the actual hideout itself. Next up, streets. Now, if you are playing a lot of streets, I think for me personally, most of the loot is hidden behind locked doors when it comes to the more valuable stuff. But it is good to note where the dense locations are. For example, I personally like the Concordia area. The Concordia area is over here. If you get all the keys to that, it's really good. But you can go through all these other locations. I would just say if you're going for loot runs, street's really good for it, but you are actually running lower FPS, more people chasing PvP for quests, and it's quite difficult because of how much the scavs try and overwhelm you on that map. So there's nothing specifically limited to streets that I can think of off the top of my head. So if you are going to streets, pretty much just make sure you check those duffel bags, and there's plenty of guides out there for like full loot runs of streets. But as for this guide, I don't really need to go into specifics because there's just so much density of loot throughout the map. I could be here all day just explaining that in a video. Next up, Ground Zero. Ground Zero, in my opinion, is the best map in the game if you want to farm PCs. I'm not going to help it with this video, but if you are after anything that comes out of a PC, so be it a PSU, a CPU fan, power cable, all those kind of things, Ground Zero is the place to go. If you're after graphics cards, no, but specifically for Ground Zero, if you're after all the other stuff, the density of the PCs, like down here, you can just see, I'll take off toolboxes. This is just near Nakatani Tower. You come inside, or Nakatani Stairs, extract. You come inside, you go upstairs, and then that is all PCs right there. You can't get much more dense than that. Then you walk outside, and you've got this building here. There's another half a dozen PCs here. And if you go across the street, I wouldn't recommend looting these ones. There's more over here. So you can do this on PMC or Scav. I wouldn't bother about going to these ones up here or worrying about any of these unless you want to go to Mira Avenue. So say you spawn down at Nakatani Tower and you want to extract, loot these PCs, come down to Mira. There's 2 PCs in here, and there's also a safe located just outside. Just be careful of the mines over this side. You cannot go to this side of the building. This map doesn't really show it well enough. If you go towards this side of the building, you will die. But yeah, there is a safe just outside there, and then you can take the Flare and Mira Avenue extract. So really, really fast loot runs. You can do it as PMC or Scav, and it works really well, just depending on which side you spawn in. Just to take very careful note of this spot right here. It is the highest density of PvP on the map, because no matter where you go from on the map, if you're going through one of the main extracts, you have to go past this staircase. So this spot right here is a massive choke point. There used to be like this on customs, and it's not there anymore. So just be wary of that. I wouldn't mind it if BSG actually opened up this building a little bit, just so we could actually get past it, but that's a conversation for another day. That choke point is really good if you're actually after like killing people, say SV98s. SVD kills or shootable in heaven. Now, last but not least, labs. There is a plethora of guides I have for labs in specific locations. The main things you're after on your labs runs are the stuff that's specific to labs, being the GPSA and the MCC. They are located specifically on labs, and there are specific locations for that. I would highly recommend watching my map guide, but I can give you a small breakdown in this video for those. And also when it comes to graphics cards and LEDXs. The spawn rate of items on labs is definitely higher. If I was to search all the high tier loot areas and also all the PCs, I would almost guarantee there'd be 1, if not 2 graphics cards every single raid. So if you go to the effort of actually learning all the PC blocks, which there are a lot of, it's 42, very often I will find a graphics card on that map. CPU fans, you can find up to 10 in a map, like in one raid. The hardest part about this map is the actual players. Good luck trying to kill them all. But if you actually are after specific items for the hideout, the MCC, the GPSA, this is the place you'll find it. And it's worth learning just for those reasons if you want to upgrade that hideout. All right, so now I've done a full breakdown of the maps and what you should try to expect for each maps. I'll go through each of the actual items specifically and give you the best example of where I think you should find these items. All right, so starting off with the building materials. Duct tapes, end parts, bolts, tapes, tubes, nuts, peroxisome, keg tapes, nails, screws are all really common in filing cabinets, right? So reserve, best place to go for that. They do spawn in toolboxes. So anywhere with filing cabinets or toolboxes, you've got them covered right there. As for shush and xeno, thermite, hoses, and the pressure gauges, toolboxes and technical supply crates are better for them. There are a lot of hoses that spawn in duffel bags. When it comes to your military corrugated tubes, the best place to find those ones are actually located in reserve, in my opinion, in the technical supply crates. They do spawn on Lighthouse as well if you're searching duffel bags and tech crates and that on Lighthouse. But going back to what I said about reserve, technical supply crates on reserve and duffel bags are your best place to find those military tubes. Now down to tools. So everything here besides the sledgehammer and the hand drill spawns in toolboxes. So if you're after like your tool sets, your master files, they do spawn in toolboxes, but also duffel bags will spawn these items as well. So going over to like Shoreline, for example, checking all those duffel bags are really good for it. A lot of people get caught up on the all. It is a little rarer. If you want to check those shelves at the back of Interchange, really good for checking for getting your alls. Streets is really good for it. But even reserve, going to technical supply crates on reserve. I can't stress enough how much duffel bags will help you here. If you're looking for sledgehammers, they are really common just laying about. You'll just be running along and you'll see a sledgehammer and it's lootable. Specifically on streets, I'd say there's about half a dozen spawn locations just inside that factory area on streets. However, if you want to look at other locations, technical supply crates on reserve will get you there, but it's not one of those really early items you need. It's after you actually start building towards getting your gym on your hideout. So you've got a little while to find one. I just recommend try and get one early and then chuck it in your stash and forget about it, because you only do need that one. And then once you've got it, you don't have to think about it. Over to electronics. Firstly, we'll start off with the stuff that you find in computers, which is your wires, your CPU fans, your caps, your PCBs, DVDs, hard drives, and your cords. You will find them in computers quite often, and going through ground zero, you get a lot of these. I highly recommend getting some extra cords because you can craft them in the hideout and it will help you out with that. Also, if you're struggling with your PCBs, in the hideout, once you get workbench, I think it's level 1, you can actually turn gas analyzers and also DVDs into PCBs. So if you do get a couple extra DVDs, it will help you out, and I recommend doing that just so you got something crafty in your hideout. There's 99 wires that you need to find. 2 cords turns into 8 wires. So anytime you find a cord or 2 cords, put them in your bum. And then if you die, you can then craft wires in the hideout, and then that's your found in raid wires sorted. So it's just another way that even if you die, you can actually still get, 4 or 8 technically wires just from even though you passed away in raid. As for the other items, helixes are largely found inside tech spawns inside Interchange. I'll just quickly show you that. All right, so the tech spawn locations on Interchange are as follows. You got Texo just outside Ollie. Up the staircase, you have Tech Light. You have Rasmussen is really good for your tech spawns. German over on this side. And then lastly, the office area of Idea. If you run through those places, you will find a lot of your tech stuff. So instead of just going to your toolkits and technical supply crates, that will actually get you a boost, particularly with helixes and nixors. But you can find those in other locations. All right, so your light bulbs, ES lamps, spark plugs, T-plugs, relays, even your magnets, nixors, all in filing cabinets. So that's your reserve filing cabinets. That's the best place to farm them, in my opinion, and you do that little bit of a loot run out of there. VPXs can be found on both reserve, lighthouse, and labs in your valuable spawn. So where you're going to be farming your vertexes, that's also where you can find your VPXs. P filters. This is a really, really difficult one for a lot of people, and it's going to be the sticking point for this wipe, I would imagine. But P filters, technical supply crates on reserve is your best place to find P filters quickly, in my opinion. You go down to the bunker in reserve, you search your technical supply crates over there, then you'd run over to where the helicopter is, check the tech supply crates there, and then leave. That would probably be the fastest way I can think of farming P filters quickly. Now, whilst you're farming the P filters, the military cables also spawn in the same location. They also spawn in all your tool spawns on Lighthouse as well. So if you're looking for them, you'll be able to get them there. All right, so for costumes, they are located primarily on Lighthouse in the same places as the Virtexes, and I'm going to show them all in the one spot. If you go over to the Virtex, I'll show all the specific locations that are good for that. Motors are in your technical supply crates. They're probably the best locations to farm them. On any map that has a technical supply crate, but there are a lot of loose spawns around the tech spawns in Interchange. Also, some of the back areas of Interchange are in other stores that are not just random. They'll spawn some motors as well. So if you're after motors, that's the best place. Drills get brought up all the time. Filing cabinets actually spawn drills. It's not super common, but they actually spawn drills. Every time you see one, you should just pick them up. Your tech spawns and your tech supply crates also spawn them, but you do need a few of them. So I would highly recommend just every time you see one, make sure you pick it up because it will save you time later on when you're trying to find your drills. Drills have not been a sticking point for me this wipe with the amount I've already played because every time I see one, I'm just make sure I get it out. I have died a few times trying to get them out. But if you do have room in your bum, you say you got a gammon container, you can use a couple of drills to turn them into a motor. And you need a lot of motors if you're upgrading the hideout. Now, aces also spawn in all the Virtex locations, so make sure you check for the Lighthouse side on that. And they also can spawn on reserve down in the bunker area, but I highly recommend if you're trying to farm loot, do not go near reserve D2. Now, LCDs, they actually do spawn inside your technical supply crates, so just keep an eye out for them. You do actually need to find 5 of them, and you'll be surprised how sometimes there will be a sticking point where you're like, hang on, I still haven't found an LCD, because they're not that common. I don't know why, if Summit went around and smashed them all, but yeah, at this point in time, there is only, they're actually kind of a sticking point. You won't realize you won't have one. So if you do see an LCD or two early on, chuck them inside your junk box and then you'll be safe. All right, so energy elements, car batteries. The best place to find car batteries in Tarkov is pretty much the back of Ollie. There's a heap of these like gray baskets and it's all along the back shelf of Ollie. And then there's also the back right-hand corner of Goshen. They've got the same baskets and they spawn car batteries. It's actually the best place in the game, in my opinion. They do spawn in technical supply crates, but if you're actually specifically after car batteries, that's the best place to get it on an Interchange. Green bats, you'll find them in filing cabinets on reserve and tank battery, your technical supply crate on reserve. But if you are desperate for a tank battery and you have progressed quite far through the quest line, the Kill Kaban quest that you actually get from Jaeger, that one actually gives you a tank battery. So you don't actually specifically have to get one out, but I highly recommend if you can get a tank battery out, it's worth it so you can turn it into car batteries because you obviously need those 5 car batteries. You also need another 4 for car repair task from therapists. That's why it's worth getting, the car batteries out as much as you can. Over to flammable materials, your fire clean, matches, cricket, survival lighters, matches, hunting matches, and your WD-40 are all filing cabinets. For your thermite and your TP200, that is inside grenade boxes, and your D-fuel is in technical supply crates and duffel bags. A lot of people are struggling to find D-fuel because they don't realize that they're actually quite common in loose spawns, but realistically, duffel bags are your best place to find D-fuel and also in technical supply crates. So if you're looking for, if you get stuck on that one, that's where you're going to be finding them. Household materials. So your soap, TP, toothpaste, and alkali are in medical supply crates. And then your sodium and salt are located in ration supply crates. And then your cleaner and paid are actually duffel bags as your primary place to find them. A lot of people get kind of mixed up on where to find some of these ones, particularly toothpaste. Medical supply crates is really quick and easy for you to find them. So there's a lot of spawns of medical supply crates on reserve, particularly around the helicopter. And if you can get into those cages, that will actually help you out a lot. Medical supplies. So your vitamins, NACL, syringes, blood sets, tool sets, ophthalmoscopes, meds, and of course the LEDX. Medical supply crates are your best bet if you're after these items specifically. As for LEDXs can only be found on specific maps. So you've got streets, woods, interchange, shoreline, labs, and customs. So if it's on one of the other maps, they do not spawn. They literally cannot spawn. They're not in the loot table. So if it is one of those maps being labs, shoreline, interchange, woods, streets, any medical supply crate, medical box, medical bag, or duffel bag can spawn a LEDX. So every time you go to those maps, if you see one of those specific items I just said, search it, because it could have a LEDX in it. Even hidden stashes as well. I forgot to put that in there. There are fixed spawns for LEDXs. If you want the highest chance, you go to labs. You can watch my lab video, my intro, my new player lab guide. I'll show you all the spawns for LEDXs there. And there's also the new area that can have like med bags and that in there as well. You could be searching. If you go to woods, there's that the netted area with the med table. That's also a good spot to get LEDXs, but then you have the risk of having to get it out. If you want to craft a LEDX, it's really difficult. So don't even worry about the crafting side of things, but this is how you'll get your LEDXs the fastest. Another good place is go to Shoreline and get all the keys. Once the actual wipe progresses a little tiny bit, say about 2 more weeks after the flea market opens up, getting all those Shoreline keys, checking all those rooms, there are a fair few specific locations that LEDXs can spawn. For example, in like 205 east or west, 301 in west, east 107 has a spawn. There's actually like most of the locked rooms, they'll either have a med bag, med box, or an actual fixed spawn for a LEDX. There are some that are unlocked as well, and there's med bags pleathered throughout the whole thing. And then of course, duffel bags. So you've got plenty of locations you can find a LEDX. When you do find one, get the fuck out of the raid. All right. With the current way the game works, don't waste your time. Don't risk it for the biscuit. Just get out of the raid. Bank it. It'll save you a lot of effort. You actually have to find 4 now if you want to go all the way to Kappa and also upgrade your hideout, because you'll need 1 for med station level 3. You'll need 1 for private clinic, and then you'll need 2 for crisis. So you need 4 in total. So bank them as soon as you can. Injury treatment for the bandages, you'll find them a lot on scavs, but medical supply crates as well, and all those med spawns that we just spoke about in the medical supplies. Info items, these ones can get a little bit tricky, but the actual easiest way to find them is in filing cabinets on reserve. Every one of these, besides the Bikisi book, I think, spawns inside filing cabinets. I reckon the Bikisi book does as well, now from memory. But you go to reserve. Today, I was farming my intelligence for Intel Center level 2. And all I did was go to reserve for about 4 hours, search filing cabinets, and I got 2 intel. I was probably a little bit unlucky in honestly 4 hours, but I was also doing some other stuff at the same time. But if you are searching filing cabinets, you'll get them quite quickly. And also safes will get you all these items as well, pretty much. So besides maybe the MFD, everything else I think spawns in safes. So reserve is your place to go for those. Valuables. There are loose spawns of valuables all over all the maps. Specifically, if you're after these items, safes are the best way of going about it. Reserve has a few safes that you can grab and get out quickly. Ideally, I would say Shoreline or Customs are your actual best maps to farm safes. Otherwise, if you actually do know all the locations and you watch some of the map guides of loot, Streets is probably your best bet, particularly stuff like the Relax Room or Concordia, to get these valuable items. You do need keys for these locations, and it is quite difficult with the amount of PvP that happens on that map. For the others section, Aramid, Cordura, and Fleece you can craft. So just go to the hideout and craft it at the lavatory. The coffee is located inside ration supply crates. Filters are duffel bags and technical supply crates. And weapon parts, I think, are in technical supply crates and duffel bags. But if you are stuck for weapon parts, you can craft them by converting either an SKS or a VPO 209 at the workbench. And I think it's 2 for every craft. So if you need 8 of them, it'll take you about 3 hours to craft 8 weapon parts. So if you're getting stuck on weapon parts, that's probably the fastest and easiest way to get that done for you. Special equipment, you shouldn't need to actually have these found in raid, but if you do, multi-tools are spawning around Christmas trees, but there is actually a spot on woods where there's the big building, actually like the enclosed building in Lumber Mill that actually has walls. The shelving in there actually spawns all your special items, being cameras and multi-tools. So if for some reason it does switch to found in raid, that's the best place to find it. For armor repair kits, the best place in the game, in my opinion, Customs, right next to Ruaf, there's a crate next to a tank or a vehicle of some sort that armor repair kits spawn on quite often. And also over the other side of the water in the storage area, there's about 4 locations for armor repair kits over there. So if that does get added as found in raid, that's your best places for those items. Storage container, you can actually just craft that at the lavatory if it is required to be found in raid. If they add the maps to being found in raid, I'm going to be hating my life, but at this point, I made sure that was brought up. You do not need to find the factory map found in raid, but if it is, Scout Backpacks is probably the only location in the game you can find them. And your Moonshine, you can find inside the Relax Room, but also you can craft the Moonshine yourself inside your hideout as you level up your hideout. All right, so I need to show you this run from the bottom village. We'll start there. This is that first spot I was talking about. How you come up the staircase and spawns are here. This is a live online server as well. I'm just doing it as a scav run that way if we don't die. But there'll be some small cuts, but realistically, the bottom village here, you've got that spawn right there, and then across here is the hillside house. You should be checking inside there. There's the sink, which is in the side building here, and then just the side of the building here, and then just check along the couch and down the bottom. And if you come down to this house, there's a heap of spawns down here. Check the map Genie and other guides and stuff, but realistically, this is what I do when I'm playing on my PMC, is I just check these spawns. Some of these spawns used to be really, really common and really, really frequent, so I pretty much only check this spot here, that box there. If you see those boxes, just check them. Then on the ground here. So where this is actually needed for gunsmith, actually. It has to be found in raid. So I don't know if that's there deliberately because of that or not, but gold spawns used to spawn in these shells. I haven't seen them there in a long time. And if you really... this used to be lootable inside here, and it had the same good spawns, but now it's the key required for arena. So there is a jacket there and some jackets downstairs as well. If you just want to... They're not there at the moment. If you want to check the jackets. But the reasoning behind the jackets is just so you can get the Marin key and all that. Marin is a vehicle over there that you can loot, and it's in the trunk. Always check that trunk, because it'll be worth it for getting all these items. Now, I know vertexes aren't required on the for the actual hideout, but the same spawns are for the costumes, aces, and there's just other stuff. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. And you're going to need the vertexes for when you're doing your playthrough Escape from Tarkov anyway. So knowing these spawns is just helpful. Now, I've never found the vertex or loot on this chair. They've told me, so many people have told me that they found stuff. So, it's one of these back chairs, like that one or this one, that you can get loot. Then from there you run across here. You want to go upstairs. Once you're upstairs, there's the safe there, which people have already looted. You run across. And you open this safe. And you go downstairs. So most of these spawns probably already been looted, but it's because I'm doing it as a scav run. You check behind the table, behind the bar bit here. When it's not filled with snow, loot normally spawns on that, inside there. And then we head up to the top chalet, like this. And once you're at the top chalet, we've got an airdrop coming in. I'll do it from the top. You come inside. You check along here on the chair. So along here is actually really good spawn. The bottom along here, you come up. You check all along the top. You see that white dot pop up. That's what you're looking for. On top of the boxes. Then you check this table. The chairs and the table. This looks like someone knows what they're doing. Just cutting off time by shooting the window, but you don't need to shoot it. You can just run around. Before you check here, just check. Oh, I've seen some videos of people doing some sneaky stuff behind there. Run around the back side of this. Right here. And then on the other side. With those safes being open, someone knows what they're doing, and they've come through and looted all this anyway. And then you're looking at top of here and down here. that is pretty much the major spawns. That'll be Virtexes, Coftums, VPXs, Aces, and they'll all spawn there in those locations I just showed. Also, like other stuff like Bitcoins and actually some Stims spawn there. So yeah, that's the main spots you need to know on Lighthouse. Every time you go past those spots, you should be checking them, 100%. All right, so some other things to point out with the hideout that can help you make the hideout even better. So we spoke about how on reserve, you should be searching filing cabinets. When you're searching filing cabinets, you should be picking up everything that's called a diary, like a slim diary, or that's the normal diary. Stuff like SSDs and the other ones that are called like SSDs. What you do with those is you put them in the cultist circle. Once you've got the cultist circle, you put 5 of them in there, and it comes back with stuff. Just pick 5 of any of those. So if it's like an SSD or a diary, once you get a slim diary and all that, once you get to 5 of them, chuck them in there and search. And very often, I will get stuff back that is either needed for hideout upgrades or questing. There's a P field. I put in 5 diaries before this, and there is a P filter right there. Bam. So instead of having to search raids for that. And then if you look at how many I have here, look how many diaries I've got. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and sacrifice. Bam. 12 hours, and whatever comes back, comes back. It's just RNG is like a little bit of a gamble. Next up, workbench. It's got a lot of things that you're going to need. If you're after nixes, this is the best way to get nixes, realistically. So you just need plexiglass, which you'll find in toolkits and just any of the tool spawns. And then you buy the Wi-Fi cameras once you've unlocked, once you've finished setup and you've got informed means armed. And for every 2.5 hours, you can just make yourself another 2 nixes. That's your 8 nixes sorted, and it's not even that difficult. Power cords. This is what I'm talking about, the power cords. Every time you find one, if you've got some room in your bum, put it in your bum, and that way when you die, you can at least make 8 found in raid wires. And there's just little things like that. So this is the SKS one I was talking about. You just buy yourself an SKS from the trader. Make sure you have a flat screwdriver, and you can make weapon parts, but there's also the other weapon parts from it's a VPO, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, the VPO 209, you can buy one of them, turn them into 2 weapon parts. I think that's probably and so when I was talking about DVD drives and gas analyzers, I don't know where they're down here somewhere. PSUs, you're going to need find a lot of these if you're going to go for the Bitcoin farm, but they do turn into caps if you're after caps. Power cords if you're struggling to find them, but you won't because you'll go through that many PCs that you shouldn't have any issue with power cords. Yeah, so there's the gas analyzer turning into 2 circuit boards. They're probably the main ones that stand out to me. The tank battery or the military battery turning into 5 car batteries. So if you are struggling to get those extra batteries for the hideout, you can make green bats and stuff. If you do find excess drills, you can make motors. I do this a lot on hardcore because I literally loot so much on hardcore, but you shouldn't have too much issue finding motors once you start taking note that you need so many of them. So in this playthrough, when I'm playing the game normally, they haven't been that big a deal. Over on the other side, mostly it's like the fleeces and stuff that I was talking about before. You can just buy 4 of these per reset, and this is actually a really good way to level up your crafting skill. So you buy 4 of those, and then you buy 2 of these, and you just rotate between them, and you'll get heaps of them. So you just do it like that. If you need TP, paperworks. Once the flea market opens up, you can just buy this stuff as straight off the flea market anyway, and then make them. Corrugated hoses, very, very, you need a lot of them, and so you can just make them. So I would keep that in the back of your mind if you are getting stuck on specific items. Some of them you can at least craft in the hideout. Yeah, what a list. What a list. Hopefully that was informative for you guys. There was a lot to talk about, and I think this video is probably one of the longest videos I've filmed in a long time for when it comes to guides, but try to keep it as in detailed as I can for you. Hopefully this was informative and enjoyable for you, and you learn a lot from it. I tried to keep it as dense and as quick to the point as possible, but there was a lot to talk about. Timestamps are going to be your friend and savior here, but it's already the end of the video, so if you've watched this point, thank you so much. Like and comment. Really does help out with discoverability. Share this with your friends if they're new to Tarkov and they're trying to find these items, and save it as like a favorite, and then that way you can come back to it whenever you need a little bit of advice on some of the good locations in my opinion. Usually when I post these videos, some of these locations might become a little bit more chaotic for a little bit, but they will balance out over time. And if you're looking for help, feel free to jump into the Discord, discord.gg/Pestily. There's a helping people out chat, and generally speaking, there's a lot of people helping each other out in the Discord. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, It really does help out with the channel and help me get towards that one day potential that I'll get to 1 million. I don't think I'll get to 1 million subs realistically. Not playing Tarkov at least, but you never know. You never know. Lastly, guys, I'll see you next time.